and welcome to the channel. My name's Brandon. That is my 2003 M5 and we're going to talk about it today. So this is a video I definitely want to do. Anytime I buy a car, I like to do a full in-depth tour of the vehicle. I did sort of an expedited one when I first bought it, but I didn't go into detail. I actually even forgot to say how many miles the car had. I think when I first bought it, I gave you guys sort of some glamour shots, and I also told you guys kind of generally about the car, what year it was and stuff like that. But we're going to go into a lot more detail in this video. If you guys are looking for numbers and everything like that, that is what this video is going to be about. As I mentioned, 2003 E39 M5. This was the last year that they built this, and this is a March of 03 build. Carbon black, as you guys can see it. I actually just washed it. I used Polish Angel Master Sealant and also Rapid Wax as my last step protection, and it looks great. So we're going to start with the outside of this car. As I mentioned, carbon black metallic, which is a very, very dark blue. And we're just going to start at this corner to discover a few little imperfections. So my biggest gripe about this vehicle is this crack right here. So as you guys can see, I'm not sure exactly what happened, but it looks like either a parking bumper or a raccoon or something, but there was a piece taken out, crack here, and there's a little bit of polish residue in here right now, so it's a little white, which makes it more noticeable. There's really not much I can do with this. You know, definitely leave a comment below if you have any recommendations, but for now that's gonna stay. Ideally I would get a new bumper, but for now it's just gonna have to stay that way. So let's go around to the front of the car. So obviously, being an 03, this is the revised face and rear for the E39. Pretty much, you know, the 03s had all of the goodies and upgrades that BMW pretty much offered for this car. So as you guys can see, it has the upgraded halo lights. So these are halos as opposed to just regular lights that the older cars came with. Regular fog lights that this car comes with. And I guess that's it for the front of the car. And also I will be, hopefully in maybe a few months, getting Euro headlights, which delete this little amber area. It's just sort of clear right there. So that is a future mod. And I also will be getting a different grille. I'm not a huge fan of chrome, although I do know that it kind of suits this car. I did see one with kind of like anthracite and black. So there's a few options out there. I don't want to do gloss black. I love the gloss black on the M3. It's perfect. But for this car, gloss black, I don't know, it just doesn't, for the first time in my life, I'm okay with a little bit of chrome right there just to kind of jazz it up. That's really it for the front of the car. This fog light is a little hazy. I haven't really paid much attention to it, but I'll have to take care of that and see if I can do something about it. And also I did take the front plate off. It's good that they did. It looks like they pre-drilled the holes so they're not sticking out. They're pretty flush with the bumper, but nevertheless there are still holes there. So maybe a front bumper is in my future. We'll just have to see about that. And yes, a ton of rock chips. I know. Lots of rock chips. All right, so this side of the car, the wheels are actually in pretty good shape. There's no flaking of the finish, and a few have a little bit of curb rash. This is probably one of the better ones. As you guys can see, there's really not any curb. There's no flake. They are a little dirty. I need to spend a little more time on these wheels and do a full wheels off detail. Potentially have them refinished, but for now they're going to stay on the car. As you guys can see, the fender liner, this definitely needs a lot of attention. This is part of the wheels off detail that I'll be doing very shortly, but it seemed to be in okay shape. But it's just, heavily built up with dirt, and this bolt is a little rusty, so I might do a few upgrades there. The tires look like they've seen better days. I'm not sure how old they are. They are the Michelin, what the heck, 245, 40, 18. Obviously these are the 18 wheels. AS, I believe these are the all season, so they're fine. They work. Now that it's literally 40 degrees out today, it kind of makes sense to have all seasons. Running with the Pilot Super Sports like I have on the M3, it's spinning in so many different gears, it's ridiculous. So all seasons are pretty decent, especially if I get on it or kind of be a little more aggressive when I drive. It's nice to have all season tires kind of when it gets cooler. You have a little more confidence in the car, although they're not as fun in the summertime, and they don't have as much grip. So Okay, so this side of the car looks pretty good. I will say, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but there is a big old dent right there. Yeah, you can see it now. So there is a dent, looks just like a door ding, which kind of sucks, but for now that's gonna stay. I might have a dent guy come and do, there's one dent there and then 2 or 3 on this car. So maybe over time I'll have him do it. I'm not sure if you guys can tell, but I just did a trim restoration. Solution finish matched with Geon trim, works really well. So go check that video out if you haven't seen it already. So this wheel, pretty good shape. There's some curb rash up there. It's really not flaking off. You know, you see the finish of these wheels flake off pretty frequently, it seems like, but generally speaking, it doesn't look too bad. And then once again, the fender liner really needs some attention. Here is something that I learned very early when looking at these cars, is gas cap rust. Or on my car, the lack of gas cap rust, because even you can see here, there's a little bit of water sitting. I actually just wiped this out. You know, there is I actually just noticed this now, guys. See this little bubbling? Normally it's like this whole area, and it's sort of a flaw in these cars is this is pretty parallel to the ground, and this has a lip, so anytime it rains or you wash the car, water just literally sits in there. And the newer cars have plastic in here, or they're designed way better. But that is one of the things where, you know, there is a little bit, so I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that. But generally speaking, it works, it's fine. So I was really happy about that. And I will tell you, my my gas lock, so when you lock the car, it doesn't work. Like, you can still open this, so I'm not sure if the actuator is broken or what, but I'll have to figure that one out. It's not, honestly, it's not really a big deal because the thing stays closed and no one's stealing my gas, so not a huge deal. And while we're here, I will mention this is one of the few rust spots, which I guess is good. It's on the trim. I assume I can replace this piece pretty easily or get it fixed, take this off, take it to a body shop, get it done, something like that. So that'll be done. And then on the other side, that's kind of in the same area. But other than that, that's really the only rust, at least that I found on the car so far. As we go around to the rear, as you can see, I have a new badge. It looks great. And that's part of like the full paint correction that I did, is I took the badge off, put a new one on, because the old one was, you know, cracked and faded and all that junk. And exhaust is, you know, needs some work. I need to do a full exhaust detail. I usually use steel wool and like the 000, and then use some mag aluminum and steel polish, which works really great. I'm not sure what the heck is going on here, but someone or something was bumped. I don't know if the car was bumped into something and it kind of cracked it or whatever, but you know, then there's the usual scuffs. I mean, it's a 15-year-old car. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, there's a few areas that are pretty rough for my standards, but you have to keep in mind it is 15 years old. If you're a M5 driver, you already know this is in very good shape relative to the other ones out there. I should mention I did pay 16 grand for this car. And it has 121,000 miles on it, so we'll just get that out of the way right now in case that's what you're interested in. Those are the numbers that most people are concerned about. So going on to this wheel, just a little bit of curb rash there, and I feel like there's a door ding on this side, but I don't remember where it is. So anyways, this side's looking pretty good, and we're kind of around back to the front, so no big deal. So let's get in. As you guys can see, I have the lovely Old Man Wood. I don't actually know the name of it, but to me it's Old Man Wood. You don't even have to bother correcting me because it will hopefully not be here for too long. Generally speaking, the interior is very clean. This is actually one of the reasons why I ended up buying the car. I was so excited, was how good the interior looks. It looks like pretty much no one drove it, or it looks like someone replaced the seats. They look so great. Door jambs look good. I just detailed those recently. Obviously, this is the later model steering wheel, which is in really good shape. I do need new floor mats. These are kind of janky, and they're, you know, they're not flat, and the bottom is kind of peeling up a little bit, so I'll be getting new floor mats. Speaking of the seat, this had the seat twist issue, which I did fix myself, but I will tell you it took several hours, an entire Saturday night. And also I'll tell you that I don't think these seats are comfortable. You guys can freak out and yell at me and say I'm a very complaining person, but every other vehicle I've owned have had significantly more comfortable seats, especially driving for more than like 40 minutes. So anyways, obviously we have the nicer gauges. I like these. These are such amazing looking gauges. Let's pop up the mileage. Oh look, I can't even read it. Obviously, so it's 121.5. You can kind of make that out. It's 121,000 miles. Obviously this has the pixel issue, which all you have to do is send this out. They fix it, guarantee it for life, and you get it back. So that's maybe 150 bucks or so, depending, I think. So I will definitely be doing that. It's just logistics is, right now I'm daily driving it pretty much, so I don't really want to send the gauge cluster out. So that will happen in the future. Steering wheel is in very good shape. Obviously this needs some detail, so the colors really pop. But it's nice stitched, it's a little thicker, and everything's nice. The buttons are nicer, then you're not the weird circle-y buttons that the older cars have. I really like that. So all the windows work, although I will say the driver's does have one little clicking noise that goes click when it's almost all the way up. So I'm not sure if that's an actuator that is going to be broken soon or whatever, but yeah, so that's the only thing that I'm noticing about the windows. So as you guys can see, I have the bigger screen, but it has this little smudge that doesn't light up. I do have another screen to replace this with, which I will be doing, but that's really the only issue there. I do have the amazingly crappy cup holders. They both work, and I do use them. So far they are doing okay for what they are. What's nice is I do have the rear sunshade, which we'll go over in just a minute here. To the shifter, longest throws and longest shifter pretty much I've ever experienced, and also it has some play. So we will be doing a BMW E60 5 Series short shift kit. Right now I think they're back ordered through like December, so that's going to be put on the back burner until they get them. I will say parking brake does work, but if you are on an incline, I always put it in gear, and that's because this needs to be tightened. I found out a couple times, I let off the brake and then the car slightly started moving. So this is not as tight as it could be, but that will be tightened in the future. No big deal here, no big deal here, everything works. There's some change. And one of the dumbest things that BMW decided to do was make this not openable. So you can't open it. It doesn't open on US models. I had no idea. This will be a separate video. I want to do sort of a what it's like to own one of these cars video. This is a tour video. But the European models actually lift up like you'd think. These ones don't. They literally don't. Go check it, go Google it if you think I'm wrong. I've checked this and I've talked to so many guys about this and I don't understand. Maybe there is a really logical reason for this, but right now all I know is this collects dust and I don't want this thing here anyway, so maybe I can swap this for the European option, which actually you can put storage in. Passenger seat, lovely seat, has the seat twist issue as well, which I just figured out recently, which is great. So that'll be fixed soon. Glove box, everything works. Light, I just have a few things in there, no big deal. The wood is in good shape everywhere. There's no cracking or anything. The dash, it's not the full leather, but it's in pretty good shape. I haven't decided exactly how I'm going to take care of it yet, but that'll be in a future update video. So we've got this beautiful Alcantara Headliner, which I am such a huge fan of. Probably one of my favorite things is not that many cars have this, and then ones that do are more high-end and they're very expensive. So very nice. Obviously we have the sunroof in the M5. Everything works. This was replaced recently because the stuff inside of it gets all messed up and it gets blue and black and it's not good. So this actually was replaced by the previous owner, which is great. So I don't have to worry about it. All the lights work, everything works. I haven't tried to sync my garage with this yet, but this works. I will say that this has a little bit of play. I'm not sure. They both kind of do it. So, let me know if there's an easy fix for this. I did put a Grom audio Bluetooth in here, as well as the hands-free, and this is a perfect spot. If you guys order that Grom unit, which I will try to put in the description box below, definitely check this out, because everyone I've talked to says they can hear me extremely clear and it sounds great, and this car is very quiet. So that's perfect. It's only like $100 and something, and you get full Bluetooth for music and talking on the phone. Let's turn the car on. Everything works really well and it sounds good, but let's do it. This car was on, so that was kind of more of a warm start. As you guys can see, the RPM little indicator there is already at 5.5 instead of 4. So it was on earlier. But as you can see, there is all the information. This is what it looks like when you change over the Bluetooth. But everything looks good. What I love to run with the fog lights and the running lights. We'll get out here. I'll show you what that looks like just really quick, just because I love it so much. So I will probably upgrade these halos to brighter and whiter, not blue, but maybe more whiter in the future. But I really don't mind sort of this era specific color. On the M3 it really bothered me, but on this car it doesn't really bother me that much. I think it looks very era specific, if that makes sense, and they're very, you know, they're the same size and then the same brightness, so it looks really proper to me. So that's really it. As you guys can hear, it's very quiet. It's totally stock, which is a big problem for me, so we're gonna have to do something about that. Future plans are most likely a dine-in muffler. I thought about doing a muffler delete, but I don't know. I'm not really feeling it on this car. The M3 can be the loud car. Why do all the cars have to be loud? But anyways, you can open up the hood, because this is a full in-depth tour. And you'll notice, first off, this is not nearly as yellow as a lot of the ones out there, so that's nice. I don't have to stare at it. I would like to actually replace this with something that's like this color, you know, metal or black plastic. It would look much cleaner. So definitely comment below. If I do a coolant flush, I might as well just replace the expansion tank there. It's pretty clean under here. It definitely needs an engine detail. You know, I haven't touched it at all, guys. I do have an engine filter, and I did do an oil change on the car. So overall, it looks really good. You know, the M is all scuffed up and stuff like that, but generally speaking, I mean, it's a very happy car. There's really not much to say under here. I just want to do regular maintenance, you know, like brake fluid and stuff like that. But yeah, generally speaking, it's in great shape. It's very quiet, as you guys can hear. Being an 03, a lot of guys say that the later models have less Vanos noise, but then there's a few other people that say that that's not necessarily the case. But I know that my car seems to be pretty quiet. Some of them sound like diesels. This sounds pretty normal. All right, I'll give you guys a few revs just so you can hear it. So that's really it. Very clean. We'll look in the back seats really quick, and as you guys will see, I have the full sunshade option with this, as well as this little side sunshade, which God forbid that the sun peeks through this tiny little window. You have this as an option as well. You guys will notice this is from my Bluetooth. I haven't fully hidden this thing yet, and I'm sorry for the change back here, but I just did the seat, and I don't have floor mats, so this car's a work in progress, so just understand that. This is what the Grom thing looks like, and I have a charging cable that I hooked up to this to charge my phone, and I just haven't bought an extension yet. I really been meaning to, but I've just had a lot going on. So as you guys can see, back seat looks amazing. Like pretty much almost no one used it. The leather is a little hard, so I can definitely soften it up and get some nicer, you know, get the leather looking a little nicer. I've got my extra plate in the back. Okay, making it around the back of the car. Beautiful, beautiful carbon black metallic. You guys will notice these are, I just had a bucket in here and it was wet, so that's just water. We've got the CD changer doing its little dance in there, and that is the screen that I will be using to replace the front. Got the battery, little storage area, and that's pretty much it. I will mention, I do have the M audio, as you guys can see, but I feel like I'm gonna rustle some feathers right now and tell you I don't think it's that good. Any guy who wants to upgrade, I wouldn't even bother. I mean, the bass audio must be so bad that people upgrade to the M audio, and I'm not even trying to be I'm not even trying to be that critical because I'm not necessarily an audiophile. I've done a few systems in my cars, but I don't think the M audio is good. And I've tried doing a hard connection. I did use the Bluetooth and I thought that's why the sound didn't sound good. But then I hard connected it through the aux jack from the Grom, and it was the same thing. It was the same quality, and I don't think it's that good. I was playing it from Spotify, so it was one of the highest qualities of music that you can play. I mean, it's fine, but it definitely absolutely does not blow my socks off. I would have guessed that it would have been the bass system, just because it's really not that impressive. Maybe there's some tuning that needs to be involved, and I know it is 15 years old, so I'm taking that into account. But the bass system on my M3 is absolutely better than this, in my opinion. I'm not sure if maybe that's just the size of the car or whatever, but I don't think it's that good. If you're gonna spend the time and money, unless this is only like a little bit of a price difference from this and the other one, if you're gonna upgrade, I would go aftermarket for sure. All right, so that's my thoughts on the M audio. I'm sorry, I'm sure a lot of the M5 guys will disagree with me because it seems like everyone freaking loves it, but I don't love it. I think it's not that good. So we are back to the outside of the car once again. Finally, the sun came out, so we have an opportunity to show off the carbon black metallic. It seriously really is a dark blue, guys. I mean, you guys can see it in the light. It's beautiful. And you know, this car is definitely a work in progress, and it's amazing how far it's come already. But you know, there's always gonna be more projects. All right, guys, so I know that was a really involved video, and it was a lot of detail, and it was probably kind of long, but that's kind of the point here, is to give you a full in-depth tour of my car. I never fully did a full tour, and as you guys know, usually like when I bought the M3, I sat in it and I went through everything, and I went through some of my thoughts as well. I will be doing a what's it like to drive an E39 M5 all the time. There's a few quirks about it, and there's a few different impressions that I get of people on the road, whether they are car guys or not car guys, so it's definitely a little bit different of an experience. So I want to do kind of a more cinematic and fun video for that. I think that's definitely going to be a little bit better if I do it that way instead of just talking to you. But this was all about the details. This was all about features, changes, current status, and all that stuff. So hopefully you liked it. I know a lot of the E39 guys do like that. That's kind of what they're about. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. I tried to kind of give you the rundown on everything, the numbers, the mileage, the year. I am the third owner technically. The owner right before me had it for maybe about a year and only put like a few thousand miles on it, and the reason he bought it was because it was in such good shape and he just didn't drive it, so he felt that it made sense to go to a home that's actually gonna be driven. I've driven it a few thousand miles already, and it's only been you know, a couple months. So so far the car is performing really well. There's a few things, you know, obviously I mentioned the things that need to be changed. Those will be done soon. So anyways, thank you guys again for watching. I do appreciate it. I'll see you guys next time.